So one thing I found very, very interesting about Dennis Rodman is that What's up guys, welcome back to my channel. For those who are coming back, if you're new here, welcome to my channel, Psych-Pass, Shoot, Score. My name is Philip and I'm a sports psychology consultant, and what that basically is that I work with athletes, I work with teams, and I work with coaches in developing psychological skills that they can use in training as well as in competition to elevate their performance and to keep their performance at a high level for a consistent amount of time. So on this channel, what I like to do, I like to look into 3 topics that I absolutely love, and that's sports, sports psychology, and anime. And so what I'm going to be doing today in this video is reviewing The Last Dance, the documentary detailing the Chicago Bulls' last championship run in the 1998 season. I'm going to be looking at that from a sports psychology perspective. I reviewed episode 1 and 2 of this documentary last week, so if you haven't seen that, go check that out and then come straight back for this week's review. And so without further ado, let's get into it. So episodes 3 and 4 definitely progressed from episodes 1 and 2, which more kind of laid the foundational pieces for the documentary. And so episode 3 definitely progressed through detailing a bit more of the individual players, for example Dennis Rodman. And it's very interesting to hear his perspective about his playing career, his perspective about entering the Chicago Bulls and how that all kind of fitted together. So one thing I found very, very interesting about Dennis Rodman is the level of detail that he goes through in his rebounding and the level of detail he puts onto that side of the floor. So going through those different drills, going through the different player analysis and the videotapes that he goes through for each individual player, and how he kind of assesses where the ball's going to be was so unique to see, and I think it kind of speaks to the value that he brings to a team. From a psychological standpoint, I feel Dennis Rodman has a great level of self-awareness. He really understands himself and understands what are things that he can bring to a team and what are kind of areas that he can really excel in. He understood, for example, when to take a rest and when to vacation. He understood when to work hard and when to really put in his effort. And luckily, he was part of a great organization who really understood him and helped work with him and were a bit lenient to all of his antics. But from a psychological standpoint as well, having a high level of self-awareness positively relates to having a high level of role clarity. And that basically is just understanding your role within the team. He understood that he wasn't there to score points or he wasn't there to get the most assists, but he was really there for the defensive side. And by him understanding that not only increased his confidence, but also the team's confidence. And it even helps for coaches because it gives them a better way to kind of evaluate the performance of their players. And so speaking of coaches, I feel like this episode definitely showed a lot more of Phil Jackson and showed a lot more of his progression from a player winning championships for the Knicks to then becoming a coach. And it was very interesting because I never knew he had international coaching experience, and I didn't know that that's where he kind of started from before kind of progressing back to the NBA and then becoming an assistant for the Chicago Bulls. And I feel his coaching philosophies are highly public within media, and they're always kind of used in terms of the Zen and different things that he used within the Lakers as well as the Chicago Bulls. But in this episode, I saw a lot more of different coaching psychology tools that he was using. So for example, the way that he kind of implemented this whole we mentality, it's not just about Michael Jordan and him scoring a whole bunch of points and hoping that he only outscores the team, but it was more about the team working together and finding the opponent's weaknesses and working through those. And he really centered that we mentality in the team, and that was kind of tailored around the triangle offense. I feel like another great thing that he did was he really tried to understand his players like individually, as well as find their motivations, what really motivates them, what really gets them going. And I feel like he effectively used that consistently throughout multiple seasons that he was there, which then helped the team kind of progress.
So it was like that with Dennis, and I'd watched him before. He's with the Detroit Pistons, and Chuck Daly, who I admired as a coach, was an animated coach. And as he got animated, Dennis would become more animated on the floor. It's like his energy source was right there, feeding into Dennis's energy source. So I thought, this guy he sometimes can go over the edge. I better just sit back and become real quiet, and use that meditation practice while I'm sitting on the bench.
And of course, he used great psychological techniques, for example, mindfulness, and that's been highly publicized. And I feel the combination of all these different coaching psychology principles and techniques really helped develop the psychology of the team and really helped them get over the hurdle of the Detroit Pistons. Because although it was a massive physical hurdle that they needed to get over, it was also a mental hurdle. Being beaten by the same team twice, and of course them being the champions, and feeling you should be at that level is also going to be a mental hurdle. And I feel Phil Jackson understood this, he saw this, and he started to implement different tools, which then ultimately helped them get over the Detroit Pistons. And so there you have it. Thank you for watching. Hope you enjoyed it. I found it so interesting seeing these 2 episodes, and I'm definitely glad that it progressed from the first 2 episodes, and I'm just glad it showed a lot more of the developmental side of the Chicago Bulls. I'm just a great fan of just people developing and seeing that progression over time. So just really good to see that, and seeing how the different parts which were put together all fitted together in beating the Detroit Pistons, as well as kind of coming together in the 97-98 kind of season, as well as Pippen coming back and previewing that. So it'll be interesting to see a bit more detail, a bit more behind the scenes of everything that happens. But I hope you enjoyed the video. Subscribe for more content just like this, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video.